Hey Phil,
Hello, George.
the thing's still up here. I just want to make sure everybody knows what we're gonna be getting into this evening. This is the first of three interviews tonight. Are you pumped?
I'm pumped. I'm pumped. Last month was great. This one, even better.
Well, here we are. Phil, welcome back to Lehigh Valley with Love Music, where tonight we're going to record three live episodes that we're also going to include on our Lehigh Valley with Love podcast, and we're also going to share these videos as well. And we're starting off with a really impressive get. I have to give you credit for putting this all together and getting Eljuri. This is amazing.
Well, also, I mean, we got to give Music Fest credit. They're the ones who bring them in. And then, we get to enjoy them live. And then, they're just such amazing people that you talk to them afterwards and you want to, allow them to, tell their story. And they're like, yeah, let's do it. So it's really just all takes care of itself.
Well, I'll do the introduction then before we get to some music.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Eljuri in. Eljuri is a triple threat. She's an accomplished songwriter, a great vocalist, and one hell of a guitar player. And that's according to NPR Music. She was born in Ecuador to Lebanese and Spanish parents. And she's a leading artivist, which is a word I want you to remember. We're going to get back to that.
Mm-hmm.
Living in New York City, who tours internationally, sharing her music and message of empowerment. Touted as one of the top Latinx guitar players in the world, Eljuri navigates through the rhythmic landscapes of her heritage, rock and pop punk, bolero, reggae, and Afro-Cuban, all presented with an elegant and socially conscious voice. Her personal guitar style, and this is amazing to me, has been influenced by the likes of Jimmy Page, David Gilmour, Carlos Santana, Nancy Wilson, B.B. King, and Bonnie Raitt. She's going to talk about a new album she released, but she has had 4 critically acclaimed solo albums, the last one coming out in 2019. And as you did mention, she did play Music Fest, and I want to bring some of that in right now.
Yeah, let's.
Phil, I know you wish you could shred like that.
I know. She was just about to shred too, but
well, we can check out that later again.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't want to keep her. She's waiting. So, without further ado, Eljuri, welcome.
Welcome.
It's fun to shred.
Yes, and you do it so well. And again, thank you so much. We're so honored to have you, and can't wait to kind of share your story through this method to our fans and your fans and anybody else who's listening out there.
Oh, thank you both for having me.
So I guess it's always good to kind of start where it all began. And, George had shared in the beginning there, you were born in Ecuador. And then, your parents were probably, highly influential to your, kind of early exposures into music. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I was born in Guayaquil, Ecuador, but we came to the States when I was a very little young girl, baby girl. And me and my brothers and sisters, and my parents are both artists. My mother's a composer, pianist, and my father's an actor. So the love of the arts was a given. The desire for, great education, political stability, all those reasons were why we were here in New York, of all,
Sure,
of all cities in the world to go to. But I grew up listening really to my mother playing the piano since I was 3, 4, 5, and just falling in love with her compositions. And so she named me after the saint of music, so I had no real choice.
Yeah, you were doing it.
I read that you had a cover band when you were like 12 years old.
Actually, when I was in 5th grade, I had my first band. Yeah. So yeah.
That's tremendous. I mean, that even just shows like the heart that you had at a young age there too, not just wanting to play, but pulling people together, a band, and then learning music like, Rolling Stones or whatever you were playing at the time.
Yeah, it was definitely like the School of Music in New York City, like having bands, and actually like from the get-go I was writing my own material and having original music and bands, but having all those incredible influences in a city like New York, where you have both the local artists, musicians, and everybody that are amazing, but then you had the best of the best coming to New York, the best African artists, the best, rock stars, the best, reggae, the top Latino players all would come to New York. So you'd go and see the shows, and then you try to mimic that with your band.
Right, right. Yeah.
No,
No,
you must have learned so much from that, though, taking in all those different influences. Even when you had your own band, when you were doing so well in the '90s, is it taking all those influences something that just kind of helps you as you go along?
Absolutely, it's the School of Music, and of course you have to respect instruments and the theory of music and all that, and learn. I played piano for many years, then I switched to guitar and voice and all that, but still, like, nothing like seeing it right in front of you, somebody who's watching their technique, listening to the levels, and then absorbing that and saying, and it comes out, in your own music. So it was like a School of Music for sure, just going to venues, you're playing GBs, and then next door is like I said, some great reggae band is playing. So you're like, okay, I'm going to go absorb that too. And it was a great place to grow up for original music. No question. Yeah.
So in that '90s time, you're with a band called the Trouble Dolls.
The Trouble Dolls, yeah.
And is that the first time that you were getting things taken up a notch a little, or is that was it happening before then?
A little before that. I was really the first time I played CBs, I was 17 years old, and it was with a small another band before the T-Dolls, and then the T-Dolls though was the first one that kind of got a little regional,
Sure.
Kind of like, we played Boston, and we play, you started spreading out a little. Yeah. So
That's awesome.
Yeah, that was cool. Yeah.
And that the name came from a little bit of the Latin culture, correct?
Yeah, the Guatemalan Worry Dolls. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right, Phil.
Yeah. It's funny, when I read that, I realized that in the '90s, I don't know, were they a popular thing? Because I remember my sister having those. Like, they were a thing that was kind of popular for a little while.
Yeah,
they came in a pouch. Yeah. You could put them in a pouch. Yeah.
Yeah, and they were beautifully embroidered. Yes. Just, I remember putting it in my guitar cases, and it was just great. Yeah, but then I was writing most of my songs I was writing then were in English, with still elements of, world beat influences, and that I, we brought into the T-Dolls, and we formulated, but it was all in English. Those songs were in English.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah.
And so that's what kind of looks like happens next, is that, in 1998, you're kind of saying you want it to be a little bit more Latin inspired.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I went deeper into my Latin roots, and then formed the band Grupo Fiesta, which had a lot more traditional clave, and I was always signed to all these indie labels all the years. And then at that point, I remember we were signed to like an alt indie label. We were like the token Latin weird band, and and then that label got bought by another label, and so then this Latin label picked us up, and then they said to me, because I was a songwriter, can we have more songs in Spanish? So I started writing in Spanish. So we had English and Spanish. So it was very bilingual at that point. But then I found how much I enjoyed writing songs in Spanish, because it's such a beautiful, it's a romance language. So that's where my love of writing songs in Spanish happened, even though my mother's songs were all in Spanish too. And a lot of musicians I admired were.
So they asked you, they're like, hey, can you write more songs in Spanish? And you're like, yes, I can. Okay. And I will tell you, like, obviously you're at Music Fest, you're just hearing, music all, every day, all day for, 10 straight days. And obviously it's pretty much all in English. And then I go to see your show, and I'm like, it just sounds nicer. Like, it's a language that's like meant to be sung. Like, the rhyming happens better. It probably has better, usage of syllables and stuff like that. It just seemed to just roll when you were in the songs that were in Spanish.
Yeah, and it's not like I don't like singing in English, but you follow where the song that you write leads you, and so that being such a lyrical language, the cadence of the way, the way words just like float over. It's just, it's just nice to have both. I like both. I don't speak Arabic, otherwise I would write some songs in it.
You said how, you're the token weird Latin band, and then Phil, you're like, they used to have like the world music stage, I think they would call it. But do you find that that's becoming less and less? I mean,
oh yeah,
the music that we just listen to, like, it's fine to put genres and everything, but to me, it's rock. Like, I should put the video back on so you can shred. But is it becoming like, it doesn't matter if you're really singing bilingually or not? It's the message and language of music.
That's exactly right. Like, I find when I play like Canada or the US versus playing Mexico or South America or other, that if I explain what the songs are about, people they grab onto it and they get it. And it's, I think it's, I think it's fine. It's half the time you're not really following what the person's singing live in English either, but on a record, it's always nice to explain to people what the songs are about, because my message is very important to me. So
and I was gonna say, like, you're a storyteller. Like, these are almost like Bard-esque songs where you're really kind of spinning a tale. That one that we played is basically, if I remember right, it's telling the tale of an immigrant who may never see their homeland again, correct?
Exactly.
And so, one, I wanted to maybe like hear more about that, but does that tie it all back to your family's experience of leaving Ecuador?
Well, it wasn't really like directly tied, subconsciously probably, but I was also speaking about the immigrant situation, being an immigrant myself, but also hopefully empowering and expose and shining a light, let's say,
Sure.
for people to understand that sometimes it's not a choice, how complex it is to be a refugee or an immigrant, very different situations, but still that sometimes it's a very intense choice that people are making, and sometimes they feel like it's not even a choice, and they can't go back, and that's sad too sometimes. So it's all very intense. It's in a rock way too, but
has that evolved, like, in your songwriting, when you first began, like some of the subjects of your songs to now? Has that changed as you've grown?
It has, from like when I went from band leader, songwriter to solo artist. As a solo artist, I think I got even deeper into the socially conscious messaging and all that. As a solo artist, all my albums really have that focus, that emphasis, and it's because I feel like I got deeper into what matters to me, if that makes sense. So what I wanted to sing about, like people I admire, like the Marleys or the Neil Young,
Sure,
Dylan, or Silvio Rodriguez, or all that kind of started kind of working its way out of my system into my songs.
And this phrase came out of our research. We saw artivist, which was kind of like an artist who's an activist. Did that come from a somewhere that you can share?
Well, that's also, like, I think the fact that I'm a bilingual immigrant in the United States and travel a lot playing music, and I see that people really are generally open and loving and caring to their neighbor when they're afraid of them, and get to understand them better. So I thought I'm in a good position with my music and my messaging to try to encourage people to focus on that. So activism does come out through my music. It's like a circle. It's one big jambalaya. You know what I mean? It's like
yes, yeah.
I should say, but it's that natural. It's like we were saying, organic things happen, and that's the best way. Like, if I'm going to sing about like society putting us in a cage, then I'm going to sing Howlett. Or if I'm going to write a song about, they just come out about gun violence and how
I was going to bring that one up. You have that song Bang Bang, which is all about gun violence.
It's like, I think it just makes sense to me to sing about.
Did you want to bring that one up?
So that's a different one. That one.
Okay.
Yeah. But we'll switch that just one second. But Bang Bang won an award, which is highly prestigious, the John Lennon International Songwriting Contest in that world category. I mean, like, that's got to feel amazing. Like the fact
Yeah.
that not only are you putting this out there, but it's getting recognized, and I'm sure it's speaking to a lot of people in art is helps people come to terms with stuff and heal, or at least raises awareness. All this very important stuff.
Yeah, and that song actually, thank you for that. I appreciate that. And yes, the John Lennon Award, and it won video awards too, because I have a great videography team.
Yes, your videos are wonderful. Again, like, it's stuff that we're going to show one of them in a second. But I just wanted to mention to anybody listening, the YouTube channel that you have these videos aren't just videos of someone playing. It tells the story, and they're very, very well done.
Thank you very much. It's a combination of Alex Gachi Design, Monteville Records, and Z Collective. So I'm not going to take all that credit, because they share. I have the good fortune of people understanding what I'm trying to do, and believing in the vision, and so that creativity. And Cecilia Villar, like, we have I have a lot of good people that have contributed to making the video so important, because that's an opportunity to get the message out again. So the Bang Bang, though, when I wrote it, it came out in both English and Spanish, because it was really a U.S.-centric thing. Sometimes I'm writing things that are global messages, but this one is global, but it's particularly a U.S.
Certainly. And you have that wonderful, poignant, and harsh moment in a good way, where you list off all the cities.
Yes.
Because too many people, I think, feel like, though, that's just an inner city issue, or it's Chicago, or whatever. And then when you sing it live, you obviously mention the city that you're in.
Yes.
Because it happens here too. So, like, I think it's such a powerful moment when you do that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that. And the thing that's intense is, like, I'm singing the list, and the list is already way dated.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Unfortunately.
Like, yeah. So
and some of your shows too, I know that you put on not just a performance, but then you'll do, I don't want to speak, but like seminars or other activities that go along with some of your performances.
Yeah.
Why is that so important, or how did that come about?
Well, like, I did some festivals, and they were they were looking for some community outreach stuff. So I would do like a webinar on how to find your own voice, or an activism kind of thing, because I've been committed to so many different things at an activist level. I'm also involved with this organization in New York called Sound Thinking, and they're trying to help. It was mostly focused on young women, because they're underrepresented in the music industry, but it's also for any youth who's in New York who wants to get exposed to the music industry and different slices of the music industry. And it's a free offering that the city of New York offers, and it's really for people who maybe don't have the means to afford to go to a school and find out,
Yeah, so and representation matters. If a young lady can see
exactly
someone who looks like them, especially maybe a young Latin girl who can now say, "Wow, that's what I've always wanted. That's what I'm dreaming of," but everyone tells me I can't do it. And then they can look at your story and say, "No, I can," and be inspired by it.
I had, of course, I had the good fortune of having Bonnie Raitt as an example, but they're so far between,
Sure.
Wilson or whatever. But yes, agree. It's also good for a 12-year-old young boy to see a woman playing.
Yeah. Oh, that's very true.
A female playing guitar as well, so that it normalizes it.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Like, and I'm also involved with like voters' rights and trying to get people get the vote out. And because I'm bilingual, I can do like a lot of the
certainly
communications to try to encourage people or help them navigate the voters, like signing up for voting. And a bunch of other things,
Yeah, I mean, it is. So a couple other things we found, like you were a lead organizer for the Women's March in New York City back in 2017. You built clean water centers via Talenta and Equality International. And then this one I love too. This is where you're offering those bilingual workshops at schools so that people can learn how to play the guitar, which is called Eljuri on Guitars.
That really found its home in Mexico. Mexico, I tour there every year, pretty all the time, and I have great great connection with that country. It's fantastic, and they, they've embraced me. I've embraced them, and so that's like a give back to the country. And again, it's like so that people could see that it's normal for a girl to play guitar and not to be afraid of it, or so it's and besides, the more you get more to give,
Oh, absolutely.
I don't know that's true. So.
For sure.
We
joked around about Facebook being down. Like it was down. Thankfully we didn't do this yesterday because this service was not working. It wouldn't have worked out. So social media is good, bad. We're gonna be able to weigh that, but for being able to get your music in front of people, like for me to listen to your discography now, I just have to go to Spotify and fire it up. Whereas before, if I was really interested, I still would have maybe had to search that out. Is it a double-edged sword to be able to be so accessible and to be able to have your music out there?
Oh, I think it's great. I think technology is great for an artist. I write a song tomorrow, put it out. I mean, obviously, I wouldn't do it so carelessly, but and somebody in Bosnia can hear it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's not some big distribution machine that you have to get into, warehouses and so that's a great. I think it's great for musicians.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I mean we need some, maybe some.
Sure.
Everything is important and all that, but there's a lot out there. But I think it's great for musicians.
But even for us to be able to connect like this, it's still
this connection right
really
here. And a shout out to todos que están escuchando. Un saludo a todos que están escuchando. And shout out to everybody that we can have this dialogue and connect with all these people. Yeah, it's like you couldn't dream of something better,
Mm-hmm. Especially for the pandemic. I mean, like this is for a while it was the only way you could even do it safely, and then now maybe a little bit safer, but still this is better.
Absolutely great. Absolutely. Yeah.
So maybe just circling a little bit back to the music story, and then I think, and again, sticking with the activism with that one video. But you basically break out fully on your own in 2006. Is that a scary moment? Is it a freeing moment? Like, did you agonize over that decision?
See.
All of the above. Yeah. And so you basically have, like George had said in the beginning, about albums every couple of years. You have En Paz in 2008, Fuerte in 2012, La Lucha in 2016, and then the more recent one, Resiste, 2019. How did that all feel, like, in that whole process? And...
It was so, that's maybe muy bien. The best decision I could have made. Everything was great, all those other experiences, but it was time for me to break out and go solo. And clearly, when En Paz came out, it was a dream come true and so well received. I had did a song with Sly and Robbie, with Jeanette Napolitano. I'm like, okay, this is making sense. This is working. I mean, not because I'm, just because they're such great musicians, and I worked with Yossi Fine and Nir Z, all these, it was just fantastic. I felt like the songs that I had written and arranged had more opportunity to go in the path that they went, instead of the limitations that the same musicians that a band has. So I love arranging. So arrangements are a big part of what I enjoy doing, not just writing. So that gives me lets the song dictate where the arrangement should go, if that makes any sense, rather than the players. Not that I didn't work with great people, but I love that freedom and the creative control. It was fantastic. Yeah.
So then there's this one song that has this video that ends up winning basically the best music video 2015 at the Voiceless International Film Festival, and it's a song called Ya es hora. Am I getting that right? Which right. Is Time is Now. Is that what that is?
That's exactly right. And that was
and it's a video about a soldier coming home with PTSD and the challenges that brings, and the video is powerful. Like we'll show a little bit of it here, and you can see why it won things.
Do you want, or we'll play a little bit of it?
Yeah, and then maybe we could talk about it. So you can see just you're bringing in every aspect of what would be impacting a family. So I would just love to hear maybe some more story behind
I just want to say too, like, I agree with you. The videography team on that, just because I don't know about you guys, but like videos were really popular for a while there, and then it seemed like they weren't. I don't know. We didn't see them for a while, like music videos of that ilk, and now it's nice to see some again. It's very well done. I just wanted to say that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we wanted to, and we also wanted to include an English translation for the USA because it was about trying to encourage people who have PTSD to reach out for help, and that was the idea. I collaborated again with Alexandra Gacci and Z Collective, Olga and Christian, these great videographers, and and that's my amazing drummer Alex Alexander. I have to give him a shout out because I love the way he plays that song. I love the way he plays, and we recorded that song in LA with Gustavo Borner. So he got it too. And Mario Munoz I know these are people you don't know, but some people on the, Mario Munoz heard the song. He's like, I want to sing a verse. So he's from Dr. Crapula in Colombia. And he's a really good friend. They're a great band. And so he's on it. So it was like this very, like a lot of people believed in the message behind the song that we really have to stop the gun violence. The time is now, and that we have to look for alternative ways to communicate with each other and get along. It's a very deeply intense topic. Yeah.
Yeah. And the song is written, you almost feel it that it's a march. Like it's like it's taking people saying, okay, you can be sad some other time. We got to get up and get out and get after this thing because it's going to take a lot of action to make it stop.
Does it help too? Because that gets you. I mean, I know that it's a sensitive topic, but when you hear music like that, like I'm getting motivated. So do you feel like music also helps in that way, where you're giving a message, but you're also putting that musical component where it's affecting people maybe in more ways than just words,
I hope so. I'm always an optimist, and I hope that the music, besides the messaging, it should be, I want to lift people up or have them feel empowered, not depressed, not like, oh, I'm like, you're not alone is always a message, and music is a universal language. And I think it's like, I watched the global citizens festival.
Right.
And you guys watch it. Like, it's like music is a healer. It does lift us up, and it brings us all together, and it's a common denominator. It is an international language, international language music. So all that I think helps me feel that we can connect better with people that, but the visuals on that are phenomenal.
And like I said, it goes from everything from obviously depression and drug abuse and such, but then also that a child's playing with the army toys, like that it's almost glorifying it. Like it's got so much to it where it's just like,
Phil, you way get it. I really appreciate that. Yes. Yeah. It's like, which is where my new album's kind of leaning, like societal pressures kind of dictate things, and it's time for us to reformulate that, and that's the bigger message behind my thinking. But that's very ambitious, I know. but there's hope. There's always hope.
Hope's a powerful thing.
Yeah. Yes. Esperanza. Sí.
And
so
I'm sure that you want to get out more in front of people. I know that you were. I don't know, Phil. Were you going to talk about Music Fest, or were you?
That's where I was going to go. Is like, I guess that's a good time to maybe talk about Music Fest. And like, you played in 2019 live. You gave a virtual performance in 20, and then you were here live again in 21.
And that's the video that we saw for people.
Right in the beginning, it was this past Saturday night's performance. Actually, Alex used some of my video in there.
Did he really?
I was honored. Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. And so I think, and actually you mentioned Alex Alexander. He's the drummer here. I don't know if we'll catch a glimpse of him. He not only was he an amazing drummer, there he is. He also did this awesome thing. Every now and again, you would just hear, "Move your body," and it was, and it was so great. I loved it every single time.
Winston's been with me for years now too. Winston Roy on bass.
Yeah, and Winston's excellent
Power
too.
Trio. We're so excited.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, that Music Fest show, talk about lifting spirits. We've all been like living in a cave, not being able to play live. we couldn't wait to explode and connect with people in a safe way, very organized. Everybody was so loving. Everybody worked so hard, and we just were so excited to go rehearse and then come play in a show where people wanted to be there and live. It was yay! Besides loving it 2 years ago and enjoying the virtual, this was like so like magical. It was magic. Era mágico. La gente era increíble. The audience, the people are very special. Now that I've gone a couple of times, I realize how unique it is. Unique. It's very, very special in Bethlehem. I don't know. There's like a caring of the community. You could feel it. We were so proud to be like in front of those steel stacks that have I guess they have a, symbolism to it, but it's like everybody has lifted that city back up, and I'm like blown away by that. We
love to hear that. That's great to hear.
And the meet and greets, people were just loving, and I remember that from 2 years ago too. So it's not to be taken for granted. Like people really, that they have lifted that city up, and music is such a big part of it, and the arts, which I grew up believing in, the arts being healers and empowering you. That's what Bethlehem represents to me. And we went out to dinner the night before. You feel the energy. It's just like great. I played a lot of festivals. I'm not saying they're not great, but this is very special.
Well, I feel like Bethlehem feels like the people who live here, or who have lived here, they feel like they have an ownership in Music Fest in a sense of like we're fostering it. There's so many volunteers. There's so many people who, maybe they just spend a lot of money on beer. That's helpful too. It's just fun to be able to be out there. Phil and I were down. Well, Phil, I think you made it to more nights than I did, but I did my best. I didn't make all 10.
I go all 10 nights. I'm a knucklehead.
I think I made 8.
A good knucklehead.
Yeah.
So I know that you have, I can actually bring your website up. Are you continuing to tour now? I know it's still a little bit. You do have a show coming up on October 9th.
Yeah, that's Saturday, right?
Well, the show this Friday, it was going to be live, but then it became virtual. So that's a virtual show. And right now, because we're going back indoors again, a lot of this are not really happening for shows, which just to be on the safe side. Like my tours to Mexico and Canada, the parts of the U.S. and were bumped last year, this year, and then this year to next year. And I was going to do a debut tour in Europe.
Oh wow!
So that got bumped to next year too, but that's okay because I think the lights it's getting better, and I'm optimistic. Friday's show is virtual, and that's okay. But the other, I just thought about that made Music Fest so special was which is unusual too. I just thought of it. Sorry, is that
it's okay? We want to hear it.
It was a 90-minute show, so we could actually do like a concert. We could do an acoustic breakdown in the middle. We could do, so that was another wonderful gift for us because it was like we had a tour in a day. Right. Because we played 2 stages for 9 minutes. It was great. I mean, it just made us hungry, but we were fed. Thank you.
And is that when you say you're hungry? I mean, you get a taste of that. I'm sure you're like, when do we get to do that again?
I know, exactly. So right now, it's not really so much about playing live. Right now, I'm. Do you want to talk about that now? Or?
Yeah. Well, you're working on a new album, right?
I'm very inspired by a lot of people that I meet all the time, and that's what goes into it's full circle. It's what goes into my lyrics are the people I meet and the experiences and what's going on in society and everything. So right now I was beefing up my studio at home to make it even better for songwriting and arranging because we're all indoors now. So as a musician, you have to create, and so you make the best of it. And that to me is kind of a treat to be able to do that because usually I don't have time. You don't have time, So now I'm in the thick of writing a new album that I'm going to look forward to recording and rehearsing and touring around for next year. So
Can't wait for it.
Even though I really want to play live all the time, it also allows me that grace, you know.
Oh, sure.
I mean, have you found any positives that have come out of the last year and a half where you've had to do things like for us? Is this streaming? You know, I don't think we would have been doing something like this had this not happened. Have you found anything like that?
That's a great question. It's the streaming has been positive because like you can connect with anybody across countries, which is nice.
Right.
Everything. And you can't do that from one live concert, you know. And again, this like me being able to like really hone my home studio up and focus on that has been another thing, because usually I don't have that same luxury. And so it is imposed, but there's always a light, there's always something good. What I'm hoping is that everybody stays safe and healthy and we get through this. And that means everybody in the US, everybody in the world, you know, and getting those vaccines out to people. And you know,
agreed.
Yeah. And so this is probably a good transition to, I heard a rumor that you might play something live for us tonight.
Oh, I have my acoustic here.
And I think the song you were going to do kind of even speaks to some of what you were just talking about.
That's right, Phil.
You're so good at this.
I'm nailing this.
So should I grab my acoustic?
Sure. Yeah.
Phil, we're gonna get out of here. So
yeah, we'll come off the screen so that everyone can enjoy you. And I, if you want to just, the song I believe is called Paloma, and if you want to introduce it a little bit.
Will do. I'm just doing a little tuning.
Perfect.
Not bad.
Is that a Martin?
Tell people. So this song is a song about how you can, you know, let your ideas take flight. Don't constrain yourself, don't limit yourself, and you know, open up your mind and let it take flight, let it soar like a bird, like a dove. This is called Paloma, and this is dedicated to my father, Paco. And when I see birds, I think of Paco. So this is just a little acoustic, intimate version of Paloma. Hope you like it. Una paloma blanca, volando libre, plumas brillando y muy sensible. Paloma blanca, volando libre, arriba sigue tu dedo, la emoción que me llega, me levanta la bandera. Liberada, liberada, escapando, escapando. Liberada, liberada, escapando, escapando. Ya se fue. Mi paloma blanca por fin es libre, bailando en los cielos. Paloma blanca, volando libre, arriba sigue tu velo. La emoción que me llega, me levanta la bandera. Liberada, liberada, escapando, escapando. Liberada, liberada, escapando, escapando. Ya se fue, ya se fue, ya se fue. Liberada, liberada, escapando, escapando.
Oh wait,
You feel liberated now.
Yes.
that was fantastic. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
Un placer para mí. It's my pleasure.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you, who are I didn't read some of your influences, but who are some of your favorite current guitarists or current artists that we should check out?
Guitarist Gary Clark Jr. Love.
I love him too. I have somebody for you after you answer this. Say that again. I'm sorry.
Muse, yeah. Derek Trucks. You know.
Are you familiar with the band Big Wreck It All and Ian Thornley?
No.
Okay, because I want to at least get you onto their radar, because when I heard you playing, this sounded like him, and he's a big, guy who does a lot of ripping and shredding, and it was just fun to be like, wait, that sounds like the metal guy I like to listen to, And I thought that was so interesting, because why not?
Oh, that's fun. That's interesting.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'll check them out. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, and I meant to mention this before, but I'm such a fan. I'm actually wearing my shirt.
Oh my!
When you show in the beginning,
I should have.
I love it, Phil.
I became such a fan that night.
That's great. That's fresh merch.
That's right. And so that's probably a good thing. So what else would you want to promote? So there's the concert this weekend. That's virtual, so I guess now anybody can see it, and people can just go to your website. They can sign up for your mailing list.
Signing up for the mailing list is really important, because then the messages get out that like everything, not just like the posts on social media, but social media I stay connected all the time, so that's also really important. So it's
I'm signing up right now.
George just showed everybody how easy it was. It took literally 4.5 seconds.
I'm just signed up.
Awesome.
And then the album next year. Sorry, cut you off. Go ahead.
Yeah, Eljuri Music on Facebook, at Eljuri, arroba Eljuri in Spanish, on Twitter, and Instagram is Eljuri Music also, right? So,
and it's all on your website too. If you go here, everyone can find everything. So
yes.
And we're going to put together a Spotify playlist of all the interviews from this evening, of kind of many of the songs we referenced tonight, so that people can just kind of go find them and then go follow you, following that. But that's huge. Like, following you on those different platforms is got to be a big deal too.
Well, we want people to follow you guys too.
I think we got, because we have a couple of comments in here. I don't know if you could see, but Paula Romano, she said, "You go, Eljuri. Thank you for the inspiration and music." And I believe this is a Colombian flag. I can't see.
I hope it's Ecuador.
Or is it Ecuador?
Colombia and Ecuador are the same colors.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But no, it's so fun that we have your fans watching our stream. So I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
And thank you for joining us, and for inspiring everyone, and for all of the amazing things that you do through your music and outside of that as well, just with your passion and your energy. So thank you, and can't wait to see what else happens, and what else we can enjoy and listen. And I truly hope you come back to Music Fest every year.
Oh yeah, I'm very excited about coming next year with a new album too. So it's
right. That would be awesome.
And let us know so we can take you out, and we can do this somewhere in person.
Yes, definitely.
Which would be fun as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
We know a couple spots in town.
Yeah, we do. Yeah. That's for sure.
We'll want to. Me and my team will want to enjoy Bethlehem again, like we did. So
perfect.
And it'd be great to be with you guys.
Awesome. Yeah. No, we would love that.
Yeah. That would be.
There
awesome.
it is.
I got clarification. It is the Ecuadorian flag, supporting a fellow Ecuadorian. Hearts, keep it up. Thank you, Sonia.
Yes, thank you, Sonia. So anyway, thank you so much.
Well,
we appreciate
it's a treat to meet you guys and see you again, Phil, but to meet you, Jorge, and to hopefully to see you next year.
We look forward to it. Everybody, go to eljurimusic.com. In this podcast, when you do listen to it after this live stream, we're going to have all the links in there so that you can find everything. And we appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Gracias a todos.
Gracias.
Take care of yourselves.
We will.
Paz.